Hey everyone, welcome back, guys. So, thanks for tuning in today, and I hope that you've all had a really good week so far. Unfortunately, here in New Zealand, it has all of a sudden, although it's nice, it's just changed to cloud and wind and rain. So, hopefully, it'll stay good for this broadcast. But if you do hear a downpour, then my apologies in advance. So we'll just wait a few minutes more before we actually get into the meat of it, just in case anyone turns up late. But for you guys that are already watching, I'll just quickly give you a recap of what we've done so far and kind of what we're going to be doing heading forwards into the future. So campaign has now begun. It began last week, or at the start of this week, last weekend. So far, we've just had the first polls go out, and they are based each week. They're going to be 2 sets per side. The first one is going to be, what do you want the commanders to actually do? So how do you want them to advance down the center, on the east, on the west, etc. And the second is their aggression level. Do you want them to be aggressive? Do you want them to be hesitant? Or do you just want them to be neutral? So there's going to be a couple of different polls for each side so that we can try and add a little bit more interest into it. Something that I've been thinking about this week is, whilst in the previous campaign, whatever decisions were made by the polls, I then moved the figures or the bases on the strategic map. What I'm thinking is, this time, although it'll be kind of like that, what I'm going to do is every time we go live, I will say, based on the orders, what my assumption is and what I feel would be the most likely thing. But then I'll put it to anyone that's tuned in. You'll be able to then just say, yes, we agree, or no, we don't. Say it won't be an actual poll, but if there's 3 of you on there and 2 of you say, yep, that's the best thing, then we'll do that. That way it gets you guys involved as much as possible, which I hope you enjoy. Plus, it takes a bit of the decision making off my shoulders, so it works for everyone, I hope. Plus, it's an incentive for you guys to actually join in onto the live, because that way you can get directly involved with the movement of the armies. So, with that all said and done, does anyone have any questions so far about the rules or the campaign before we dive into turn 1? And in case you didn't know, the rules are all available for you guys to get your hands on. The campaign is at the back of the rule book, so it's all one thing. I will link it by the end of this into the comments here and also into the description of the video. So if you are interested in getting your hands on it to either play at home or play along as we go, then you can just share how yours is going. That'll be available for you guys to do. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this is turn 1. In historical terms, week 1 is the week of the 23rd to the 29th of March. And this is how the armies are laid out. We've got the Confederates with Jackson down in Staunton. And then I think Ewell is, let me find out, just one second. I left my actual paper rule book elsewhere, so I'm using the iPad here. Yes, we've got Jackson and Ashby in Staunton. We've got General Johnson in Buffalo Gap. We've got General Ewell at, where is it? Stanville. Yep, that one there. And then we've got a small force of 2 infantry brigades at Ruckersville, which is there. And we've got 1 cavalry regiment at Conrad's Store. For the Union, we've got General Banks and 2 infantry brigades and an artillery battery at Strasbourg. We've got Shields with 4 infantry brigades and artillery at Newmarket. We've got General Fremont with 2 infantry brigades and an artillery battery at Moorfield, which is over there. And then we've got a cavalry regiment at Woodstock. We've got an infantry brigade at Winchester, an infantry brigade, which is small, at Front Royal. We've got 1 cavalry regiment small at Luray or Luray. If any of you know the best way to pronounce these towns, do let me know. Good evening, Luke. How are you doing? We'll send the Yankees skedaddling back to Washington. Yes, we will. We've got 2 regular infantry brigades at McDowell, and we've got 1 infantry brigade at Romney, which is up there. They've also at Franklin, wherever that is, Franklin, which is this base. 1 cavalry regiment large and 1 infantry brigade regular. And then at Harper's Ferry, where I'm actually missing a marker, but there should be a Union force there. They've got two infantry brigades and 1 artillery battery. So let me see if I can find a marker for them. There we go. So they're up there. So that's the sort of the dispositions of both sides. If anyone's tuned in slightly later, if you've got any questions, do chime in. But so far, yeah, we've just gone over a disposition of the forces. So first step of the game is to figure out the initiative. And so we're going to do that. So we'll roll 2 dice, red for Confederates, blue for Union. And then the way the game will work, each turn, if there's victories on the following turn, that'll gain, for each battle that you won, you gain a +1 to your initiative. You also add your commander rating. So for us, Jackson is 6 and General Banks is 5. So we'll roll our dice. And so 2-2. So that means Jackson's going to win because he's got 6, 7, 8 versus 5, 6, 7. So Jackson wins initiative this turn, or the Confederates do. So I will write that down. Confederates win, which is good for them because they need the initiative. Also, for those of you that weren't here last time, if it turns out to be a draw, it'll automatically go to the Confederates, just because historically they were a bit more nimble. The Union had so communications issues, and they were a bit more cumbersome. So we just give the advantage to Jackson if there's a tie, and that should help us out on that sort of historical flavor. Talking of historical, no, we're talking about weather. So next up, we're going to check the weather forecast. And for that, we're just going to do the D100. And we will see what we're getting. Currently, it's March, and we've rolled a 57. And that means it's clear skies, so no negative effects in our battles. So weather is clear. Which is quite handy for the first few turns. Overall, we're going to have much higher chances of clear or light rain. I think it's going to be very unlikely to get heavy rain, seeing as we're mostly fighting during summer. But hey, could happen. The only other effect also is for the months of March and April, there's 12 turns, and in May and June, there's 15 turns. So just a bit of light difference within the seasons. So for March, we've got 12 turns in each battle. Historical events. So on March 24th, historically, Lincoln was disturbed by Jackson's attack on Kernstown. So even though Jackson historically did lose that battle, it's sort of frightened Lincoln into thinking that there were more Confederates in the valley and that they could come up and take Washington. So he basically ordered General Banks' units to stay in the valley and destroy Jackson rather than taking forces to go on to Richmond. So because we're not doing this completely historically, just a basis, what we're going to do is roll a d6. And if it's a 4, 5, or a 6, then that event will happen. And if it's a 1, 2, or 3, it won't. So historical event does happen. All that means basically is General Banks' units must remain in the valley until at least the end of May. Some of the overall victory conditions for the Union is to try and get troops off, as in they're going to Richmond. So this is just going to hamper them a little bit in that regard. So historical event, Lincoln commands Banks to remain till May. Cool. Next up, we've got our random events. So we've got 2 random event tables, one for the Union and one for the Confederates. And for that, there's 20 options. So we're just going to roll a D20. So first up for the Union, we've rolled a 20. Oh, okay. That is it's called strategy or tactics. If you are the winner, you gain 1. So if you're the winner of a battle this turn, you are going to gain 1 less supply point. And if you're the loser, you're going to gain 1 supply point more. So that's just the general who's putting strategy or tactics above the other. So interesting how that will play out. So what was it called? Strategy or tactics? Tactics. And for the Confederates, they've rolled an 8. So put 20 on there. And so for the Confederates, we have got scouting. So in any battle this turn, the enemy has to deploy 1 brigade before you deploy your army. So your scouts have basically located one of their units. So it's a boost for the Confederates. So scouting. Cool. So far, looks like it's actually going slightly in the Confederates' favor, which is quite interesting. So next up, we've got the movement phase itself. So what I'm going to do is quickly skip over to find out how the polling has gone, and we can figure out what we're doing. Previously, when I've tried to share the screen, it's just gone blank. So what I'm going to do this time is try and get it up on the pad, and then I can just lift the screen over. So just bear with me 1 second. That way you can actually see how everyone has voted. And where are we? Trying to find it. Should have prepared this in advance. It's my mistake. I didn't even think about it until just a couple of seconds ago. Here we go. Cool. So for turn 1, Union options we have got 30% of people say for a general advance on all avenues. So they will be advancing from the east, down the center, and down the west. I'm not sure if you can see it too well on here. Actually, yeah, you can. So you kind of got mountain range up here, which splits the east to the center. And then you've kind of got a mountain range / the river here, which again splits center to west. And so that's kind of how we're going to be working it. But overall, 30% of you have said for a general advance along each avenue. So that's what we'll be doing for the Union. And as far as aggression level, 48% have said neutral. So follow the orders. So general advance, and if practicable, attack or fall back. As for the Confederates, we've got main push in the center, and then steady advance, if practicable, elsewhere, is the winner at 39%. So for the Confederates, they want the main attack to be central, and then the flanks can move if practicable. And aggression level, pretty close. But again, we've gone neutral this turn. Aggressive was pretty close in second, but okay, so neutral. Fair enough. Okay, let me just get back to where I was on here with the rules. Cool. So Confederates won the initiative, so they are going to get to move, and the orders that we've received are for an advance centrally with, main push in the center, and then, if practicable, move on the flanks. I'll throw it out to you guys. Do you consider that we should advance with both Jackson and Johnson, or should Johnson still be pushing out in that direction to go after these Union forces? Or would you interpret the orders that all of the central needs? So yeah, have a think about that and comment to let us know what you think. My thoughts there would be, it could be a bit risky to send all of these guys forwards because we could be flanked. So I would say that Johnson should move in that direction anyway, and then he'll be the force over there. Jackson should go north, and possibly this unit here could join him in his push north, and then these two under Ewell will remain over this side. But yeah, let me know what you think, and then we can go from there. Options for the troops, let's have a quick look. Units move, generally speaking, 1 bound, so like 1 town, everything's done basically to the next town in this game, just to make it easy. So a general move for the infantry would be 1, and cavalry, I believe, is up to 3 bounds. Oh no, sorry, my mistake. Infantry and artillery can move 2, and cavalry can move 3. However, you can attempt to force march, which will allow your units to attempt to gain an extra. What we do is roll a d10. However, there is a potential penalty incurred. So, yeah, I'm thinking, seeing as everyone seems to be leaving it to my decision, I think we'll have Johnson, who will move over and hold here. And we'll have Jackson move north. We'll get this cavalry unit to come across to him, and we'll get these 2 armies to converge and then attack up to there. Here we go. Luke, keep Johnson as is. Jackson towards Harrisburg. Yep. I'm thinking that sounds quite logical myself. Perhaps we just move him over to here because there's bridges, and that mountain pass will make it harder for the Union forces to actually amass their troops because there are limiting factors when crossing through the passes. So, cool. I think that sounds like a plan, unless anyone else wants to interject with additional options. Cool. So it is written, so it is done. So we've got Johnson. He's going to make his jump over to there with his force. And we've got Jackson with his command, and he is going to go 2 bounds per turn. However, we are going to allow him, just 1 second, I think there might be a special rule for Jackson. I know I wrote the rules, so I should know, but there's too much of it to remember. So just give me 1 second. Here we go, yeah. So within the rules, I have written up character sheets for all the historical leaders. And Jackson has aggressive attacker, so he'll gain +1 to his initiative roll in each of his battles. Old soldier, this old soldier has decades of experience, so he gains +2 actions in this is actual battles. And we've also got foot cavalry, so Jackson's command may move 1 extra bound each turn. Yeah, that's a good point about Johnson. So yes, we do. Cool. But yeah, so now Jackson gets an extra bound there, so that's going to allow him to move slightly further forwards. Where are we? I've lost my page. Movement. There we go. So that means that Jackson's force can actually move 3. So he'll go 1, 2, and if we want him to, he can attack Newmarket. If we have this cavalry force join him, they can again do 3, so they'll be able to join. So we'll have Jackson plus his cavalry force, and then the 2 of those can attack Newmarket. And then we've got General Ewell, and I think this is an infantry brigade, will head up to attack at Luray or Luray. So they will merge and strike. I think that works quite nicely. Luke, just to clarify, are you saying that we should send Johnson further across to try and engage, and then if needs be, he can withdraw? Or are you saying that we should leave him where he is? I'll just wait there for a second until you can clarify that one for us. So that's the Confederate movement done. You can definitely see how having the initiative really does permit you a bit more maneuverability and flexibility on the battle map. So that's pretty good. As for the Union, now it's their turn. We had our orders that they should have a general on all fronts. So I guess we've got these chaps who should be marching down to try and support here. Again, if you've got any thoughts, guys, just chime in. So they'll advance down and give support. However, they will be arriving as reinforcements, so that battle will be an interesting one. We'll have this cavalry force who will ride to try and help at Newmarket. And we'll have, I think it's Banks who's here, will advance down as well and try and support. These chaps here, 1, 2, 3, they're not going to get to there. 1, 2, they're not going to be able to help either. So let's just roll a d6, and then 1, 2, 3, they'll head in that direction. 4, 5, 6, they'll go in that direction. 4, 5, 6. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So they're coming to try and help them, but they haven't arrived yet. And over on this side again, This chap will join him. Sorry, Luke, you posted. He actually looks like he's in a good defensive position. Okay, he'll hold there. So that's 1, 2. So technically, these guys will be trying to come through the passes. This chap, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Actually, let me just correct on those. I think they were infantry, so they'd actually only go 2. Bear with me. So Union from Mooresfield. Mooresfield is infantry, so yeah, they would have actually only gone 2. So they would have got to there. And from Romney, they are infantry, so they again will only have actually gone 2. So that's a bit of a slower advance. However, they will still be fine to go 1, 2, and we'll keep them together. So I think that's a pretty good force for the Union. And then we've also got these troops at Harper's Ferry, which are infantry, so they can go 2. However, they do have railroads, so I would say they would be best off going 1 to Winchester and then 1 more to Newton. Was that? Yeah, Newton. And that gives us our overall Union positions and Confederate positions. So let me just write those down so we know what battles we're fighting. So we've got battles. We're going to have 1 between Johnson and what's that location? West something or other. West Augusta. We've got Jackson at Newmarket. And we've got Ewell at, what was that? Luray. Cool. And that will be basically it for now. Next step is to fight the battles. Once the battle, so if we just go back 1, these numbers, or if you're out of supply, can hamper you at each turn. So first turn, there's not going to be any effect because it's turn 1. However, what we do get is each army gains 1 detachment to be supplied for free. You don't have to spend logistics points, so it's just a free detachment sent out. And it can be deployed to any army with a clear supply line. So basically, the towns with S's are your supply bases. So any army that can trace a line to there without the enemy intercepting it, basically. And it has to be through friendly territory. It can't be through enemy territory. Gets to have that detachment if we wish, or the Union can just wait in the supply depot for further orders. So we've got, as our supplies stand, the Union player, what do we have? They have got 6 small infantry units, 3 small artillery, and 3 small cavalry. Put a comment I think would be the most beneficial at this stage for the Union. And for the Confederates, they've got 6 small infantry, 3 small, same again, I believe. 3, 6, yeah, exactly the same actually. So for the Confederates, do you think at this stage infantry would be more useful? Artillery? I would say probably infantry, just for fighting back, seeing as we're already outnumbered just in general, so we need all the men we can get. I'd say possibly for the Union, cavalry might be more useful, just so they can scout ahead and find out what's in the enemy armies. But hey, what do you think? Otherwise, we can leave it to a dice roll. Maybe a dice roll might be the best thing. So we'll go 1 or 2 is infantry. Let me just write this down so I don't forget. 1 to 2 inf, 3 to 4 is cav, and 5 to 6 is artillery. Cool. And again, red and blue, Confederates. Cool. So Confederates have got artillery. Interesting. So Confederate art and Union have got cav. Cool. I would say probably for the Union in that case, most beneficial place would be down here at the Manassas Gap. And then 1, 2, then they can 1, 2. They can actually get to supply these troops here. So yeah, I'd say let's do that. Cavalry Manassas to support Lurry. And I would say infantry possibly would be best again. Let me know what you think, but possibly infantry from Staunton heading over to help Johnson out in his attempt to hold over there. Yeah, I would say possibly that might be the way. But then again, he's got a good defensive position, so more supplies going up to Jackson might be the way to try and break this Union force. What are your thoughts? Jackson. Yeah, okay, let's go Jackson. That's going to be our main drive anyway, as per the orders. Break the center of Jackson. Yep, cool, let's do it. So you Confederates will go. It's artillery, so yeah, plus they're attacking a town, so I think artillery would be most useful there. Cool. So artillery from Staunton heading to join Jackson. Cool. That's quite an interesting turn so far, actually. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to have 3 battles. Is it going to be 3? 1 to there, 2. Actually, no. So they won't have just reached the first bridge. So we've got 1 market. Let's strike that one out because that's not a battle yet. So we've got the battle at Newmarket and the battle at Lurry. So interesting turn. So what will happen next is tomorrow I'll get the just an idea. Would any of you guys actually like to, if you've got a gaming group or anything, would you like to fight the battles? And then, so I mean, you'd have to supply us some photos and stuff like that so that I can put together what actually happened in the battle. So it is a little bit of work. But if you would be interested in fighting the battle, then we can do that through Facebook. I can give you the orders of battle, and then you can do it. Otherwise, I'll do the battles. Completely open to that. So let me know what you want to do. But otherwise, yeah, tomorrow we will fight these battles here, and we'll get the results. Then I'll do the same as I did the previous week, the previous campaign, whereby on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how long it takes for me to create the video, I will make the video of the battle reports, but also then showing on the map the different potential options that we can do. Then it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll get the next sets of polls. And then at the end of the week, again, next week, I think I'm working Saturday, so I'll do the live on Friday. I'll confirm that during the week, but I'm pretty sure that's the situation. So we'll go live next Friday, and then again, the battles get fought over the weekend. But I am pretty excited about this first turn. So thank you all for your input. And yeah, until next time, I hope that you all take care this week. And as always, I'm always open to any suggestions, any comments, any ideas. If you get anything, just let me know either in the comments below or message me on Facebook. And yeah, that's about it for this week. So yeah, once again, thanks for all of your input and take care. See you guys.